Welcome to the Coach Brennan press conference. The Spartans come off a pair of home wins and now hit the road to San Diego State on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on FS1. Coach will have a quick statement and then feel free to ask questions. Coach?
What's up, everybody? How we doing? It's good to see y'all. Saturday night was awesome. Hard-fought game. I thought Coach Norvell had his team ready to play. Colorado State did a great job. It was a really intense battle. I thought Horton was brilliant. I thought the quarterback played well. Just a lot of good stuff. I think they can come away from that feeling pretty good about what they put out there. And we're excited that we found a way to win, and that's kind of been what's happened to us the last couple of weeks. And just a lot of really exciting plays in that game. It was really fun to see, and I think getting to bowl eligibility is such a big thing for us, big picture, just in terms of everybody makes such a big deal out of spring practice, and when you go to a bowl game, you essentially get an extra spring practice, so you really get a chance to continue to develop all your young players and your new players and that part of it, and that's really, really unique. And I think that's why you also see some teams that are year in and year out consistently good, is because they get more practice than everybody. It's like, practice makes permanent, then guys that get more practice are going to have more good stuff in the system there. So it's huge for us. We're really excited about it. There was so many good things in that game. I spoke about a lot of it in my post-game press conference, and the one guy I didn't speak probably enough about would be Ali'i Matau. Like, wow, unbelievable the level he's playing at, which is awesome, right? Like you're seeing a lot of great plays from these upperclassmen that have been here for 4 or 5, some even 6 years, and it's pretty special. But he's just an incredible human being. He's a great student academically. He's in grad school. The guy, he's everything you could ever want to coach, and he's a really special guy. And I didn't speak about him on Saturday night, and that was, I was wrong for that, because he just is playing great football. So we're excited. We're getting ready to play a very, very good San Diego State team. They're always good. They always have great players. They always play super hard. Defensively, they're always, this is the best defense we've played this year. And then offensively, they're really, really challenging because they match incredible run game with their running backs, an outstanding, massive offensive line, and a quarterback who's doing a really good job both running it and throwing it. And then they have weapons outside at receiver. So this is an incredible challenge for our football team going on the road to play a really, really good team. And we had a great day of work today, so we're excited to be back together and back at work, and trying to put together a good plan and get our guys ready to play a really good San Diego State team on the road.
Questions for Coach?
The way you describe the Aztecs, it sounds like you're describing the Spartans. They're 2 tough defenses, similar style, offenses. Do you kind of predict another 4-quarter game, or what's your thoughts?
Man, it's November. Every game is a 4-quarter game, I think. I think that's how our conference is. I think in our conference, there's, everybody's pretty close, and so when you're playing you look at our last 2 weeks, right? Like, those were dog fights. I mean, they were tough and hard, and so I just think that's the world we live in. And November, playing games in November, it's awesome to be playing games in November that matter. That is big for us. That has not always been the case, and so we're excited about that. And to get a chance to go on the road and play a team as good as San Diego State with as much, good history and what they've done, what they've done a year ago, right? They were fantastic a year ago. So, and then we've had epic battles with them. So, I would expect it to be the same. Last year, double overtime. The year before, last 2 minutes of the game. The year before that, was like every year seems like it's just an absolute dogfight with these guys.
Can you walk me through the video I think your social media team posted on Twitter of you actually rolling a bowling ball with the
Yeah, that surprised me, because normally when we get in there, I got in there a little bit late because I had to do an interview, And so normally when I get in there, we just all start going crazy and just hugging and laughing and smiling and crying and just and so I think Ben Thenis is responsible for the bowling pins being there. Had I seen them pregame, I would have felt like it was the jinx of all time. I would have dog cussed him for it. You know what I mean? But no, it was actually fun, and the players were excited about it. And it was just a really fun moment. Like when I think back to a year ago and how close we were, and how we didn't get to the postseason, and just how painful that was. I want this group of kids to just feel good at the end of the season. They've worked so hard. This has not been a 6-month thing. This has been a 6-year thing. You know what I mean? And to be able to share it with our fans, and right, we've had the best fan support we've had in I don't know how long. Maybe Sky could tell you, or Scotty Mack could tell you. But Vic, you've been coming to these games a long time, right? So have I. We've had awesome fan support. Our students have shown up. It's just fun, and I want our guys to end this season feeling good. You know what I mean? About what they worked for and what they achieved and the time and the effort and all that stuff. And so that was a really cool moment. The bowling pins were fun. I don't know. But I'm just, I'm excited for this team, and I'm excited for this team because they're excited to keep playing. And I've been saying it all year. This team really cares about each other. It's a really special group. They've been through a lot together. So, and so I think that, football teams have a lifespan, right? It's August to December, or January to December, or it's January to, January, right? Like, it's like you get to keep playing, and we get to, and now, this team has bought another few weeks together. And I think that's special because for a lot of our players, this is the last football they'll play. Right, they're most of them are, or not most, but those upperclassmen, they're graduated. They're in grad school. So life's about to begin for them, and the fact that we get to keep doing this together is special.
Coach, Chev on Saturday threw just his second interception of the season. Last season at Hawaii, I think he was near double digits in interceptions. Can you just speak to his ability or his improvement this year in just taking care of the ball, making good decisions?
Well, I think you kind of said it. He's taking care of the ball and making good decisions. I do think Coach McGiven has done a fantastic job with him. I think Coach McGiven doesn't get enough credit for what a good quarterback coach he is and what a good play caller he is. But then I also, I have to give Chevin a lot of credit, right? Like, any part of successful or playing good football, like that credit belongs to a lot of people. That's the beauty of football, right? Like, the guy didn't go out there and throw a no-hitter, you know what I mean, or score 60 points, right? Like, it's, for him to be able to do that, he needs protection, and we need to have some run game, and the receivers need to get open and make plays, and we need to drop a good scheme and get him coached up and going through the progression correctly. So I think everyone has a piece of that, but I think it really speaks, specifically to, Coach McGiven and then also to Chevin. And Chevin's like work ethic, and, he got here, I know I mentioned it to the media before, in spring practice. Coach McGiven said to me, I've never had a quarterback absorb the offense this fast and be able to apply it this quickly, right? And Coach McGiven's been coaching quarterbacks for a while, so it's a pretty big compliment. And so, I'm hopeful that Chevin can keep playing at a high level and keep making great decisions with the ball and protecting the ball.
I know Coach McGiven has said he wants to start the game faster, but it hasn't been happening the last couple of games. And I'm assuming he still wants to do that, but if it doesn't happen, it seems like you guys get punched and you guys respond well through the course of the game. So is it just really kind of feeling out the game still and just taking what you get?
Yeah, I think everybody would like to start fast. Sometimes that doesn't happen. We've had games where it has this year, and we've had games where it hasn't. And so it just depends on, do we, sometimes it's the depth of a receiver, or we're blocking the wrong guy, or we don't see the hole as running back. It's like something really small that kind of stalls out a drive, right, and then makes you feel differently about how it started. But, I do think that the conversations on the headset are really, really positive between all the coaches and what they're saying and what they're seeing, and I think we're getting to good solutions as the game goes on. So I'm hopeful that that'll continue. This will be an incredible test this week. These guys have a bunch of all-conference players all over their defense. They're super good, super active. They always have been, right? That's been their calling card for over a decade now is outstanding defense, right? So, but the thing that's a little bit interesting now, they're matching it with a runner at quarterback who, throws it well, but he's also really dangerous with the ball in his hand. So, like those things combined, like really good defense with like potent run game, and makes it a tough game.
For the past 2 weeks, crazy sack numbers. Is that something you expected to, like if I told you a couple weeks ago you'd have 17 sacks, Nevada, Colorado State, would you have expected that?
I would have given you a hug if you could have predicted it accurately. No, I think I think that's awesome. I think that speaks to the quality and the care factor of the players on our defense, and then also the position our defensive staff, Coach Odom, and the rest of the guys are putting them in. I think that's a big part of it. But those players, they are really, really fun to coach, and they do work incredibly hard in practice. I think that's such a cliche thing, like, oh, hard work, and like it works, but like it kind of does. Like you see the results from the work that's been put in by that group of guys for 4 or 5 years, right?
You talked about kind of the mirroring of the teams. They have a good run game and a good defense, kind of mirrors what you guys have. I guess going into Saturday's game, what is kind of your biggest thing you want to focus on, biggest takeaway that you want to focus on Saturday?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say that we necessarily look at it that way. Like we're kind of more worried about right now. And I know I've said that before to you guys, but us being, worried about the outcome and not the process is not healthy for our team. It's not healthy for our coaching staff. We don't operate well in that space, right? We know that we want to play good football and win the game, or we know that we want to, get to a bowl game or play in the postseason. We want to play for a conference championship, like all those things, right? But the moment we become, that becomes the focus and not what we're doing right now, is when we're getting ready to line up and get our butts kicked. So that's our mindset, is what are we doing right now, and what are we doing, like with today's practice or these meetings this afternoon. Like that's where it is for us, and it's not really the fact that we're playing a really good team, or the fact that we're on the road, or what we want to do in that game. Is really more about, all right, what do we want to do right now that gives us a chance to play good, clean football. Right, we still had too many penalties the other night. We still have some stuff we need to clean up. So we're just diving into that process and those small details and those little pieces that we felt like we didn't have on Saturday night.
Brent, you're probably familiar with the Pac-12 rumor potential there with San Diego State. How much of an unnecessary distraction, or not, is that for them, and even for the Spartans?
I don't know. We don't think about it or talk about it because it's out of our control. And kind of back to the last question, like we're just worried about trying to get our team ready to play good football Saturday night. So as that stuff swirls around out there in the world, even last spring when all that stuff started with like UCLA and you are in July, right? It's like 4th of July weekend. I remember that. I know it's a huge topic out on the, out in the public and on social media and all that stuff, because 4th of July weekend, I had like 200 people ask me that, right? Like, is it a family reunion? Everyone's like, what do you think? I was like, I don't know. It's not like they're asking for my opinion. You know what I mean? Coach, what do you think about this? So I don't think any of us can really accurately predict the future. I still think the deck's going to shuffle in the next few years, and but it's not. We don't have any control over that, and so all the time I'm telling our players to focus on what you can control, but like we need to do that too, because. But it is fun to talk about. It is the speculation and all that, and it is definitely interesting.
Why do you think players and coaches just listen to what you have to say?
Like in general?
Mm-hmm.
I would say sometimes they don't, It's like your kids, right? Clean your room. Yeah, whatever, Dad. I don't even think of it that way. You know what I mean? I think over time with coaches and student athletes, you build trust, right? If you're straight up with them, if you care about them, you build trust. And then you can communicate and hopefully effectively to try and get a job done, or trying to help a young man grow up, or try and help somebody get themselves situated academically or socially or athletically, right? So I don't necessarily think about that like that way. It's really more about the relationship that I have, our coaching staff has with each other, and same thing with our players. Like, what is that? Our players need to hold each other accountable. Our coaches need to hold each other accountable. Our players hold our coaches accountable. Our coaches hold our players accountable. Like, that goes both ways, and it has to. And that's how we're built here. Maybe there's other ways that work different than that, but that's who I want to be, and that's who I want us to be. A team that loves each other, cares about each other, and is going to put in the work because we have that trust and we want to do things the right way. That's where I want us to live.
Coach, on Saturday, even when you guys were had some penalties or you made some mistakes, I could see you kind of just clapping on the side, trying to bring that positive energy. Has that always kind of been your MO, just bring positive energy? And how much do you think the players appreciate or don't appreciate that kind of that attitude?
You should ask them. I don't know. I don't know. I do. I think in those moments, right, back to that trust, in those moments when you have something not go well, right, when they're looking to me, or they're looking to their coach, or they're looking to their teammates, they don't need me to embarrass them. They don't need me to humiliate them, right? They've already made a mistake, right? And so I think, like, in those moments, I'm just like, there's nothing we can do about what happened. We talk about that a lot, right? Let's look through the windshield, not the rear view. Let's just worry about this right here. We can't, that thing that happened, it's like complaining to officials, right? Like, how many times have you seen them pick up a flag, right? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, coach, you know what? You're right. I agree with you. Let me pick up that flag. It's just a waste of time. So how do we get them back on track, refocused, locked in for the next opportunity, the next play? And that's where that comes from. I've always had a ton of energy. That's where that's who I am. And I think that's important. I think I do think they would rather have that. Like, and I can't speak for them, but I'm just speculating that they would rather have that than me, like, throwing a tantrum and acting like a jerk or screaming at them when they made a mistake. I don't think that works or is healthy. And what does that do to my trust with them, right? They're like, they're coming to me because they made a mistake and they're looking for me to help them fix it. And then I'm venting. That's not, I don't think that's healthy. You know what I mean? And then that just erodes that trust, right? And I'm not trying to do that. So, and there are times where you have to be negative or serious, or there has to be some real hard and fast accountability, but those things are easy to see and easy to define for the team. So, like, they know that with me, right? Like, if they're loose with the football, or if their effort is not good, or if they don't know what to do, or if they don't go to class, like, those things are all in their control, right? Like, they'll get real heat from me in those moments because those things are all in their control, right? Like, you drop a pass or you miss a tackle, dude, play the next one, catch the next one, tackle the next guy. Let's play. I don't want them worried about the last thing, right? Because we can handle one mistake, right? But if we start stacking mistakes, right, then that arrow starts to go down, right, and has a bigger impact on the game.
Brent, maybe a statement you can respond to, but so something I've not probably noticed over the years, but these young players, Pollard and Parham and even Elijah, and these guys, young guys are just coming in. They look like they're having fun. Looks like they're really getting into the system. Like, you could almost speculate into next season that these guys, are going to carry it on and pass it on. And is that kind of a plan into the program, or is that just something culturally they're just picking up? Or?
Yeah, it's funny because we've been playing freshmen for a long time here. Like, there were times we kind of needed to, but then now that we're a little bit further along in the development of the program, we're trying to make sure that those guys are ready, a year from now to really take over. But if someone's good enough, they're going to play all the time, right? When you look at on our defense, there's lots of guys that have been 3-4 year starters, right? Same thing on our offense, right? There's between those, some of those tight ends, wide receivers, Ham and Braddock have both played for a really long time. Jaime Navarro has been starting for 4 years, so I think so seeing that next generation of those guys, it's exciting because they're playing good football. Parham's just a second-year player, right? And Pollard's a freshman. And so, as those guys continue to develop and get stronger and improve, but if there's a player, Trey Jenkins has started for 4 years, Cade Hall, Fehilko, right? Swane, 3 years. So, but if they're ready to play and can help the team win, we're going to play them. That's always been our thing here. We tell players that in recruiting, right? You'll play as a freshman here if you show up and can do it, can demonstrate that you can positively impact a game.
With how much football is part of your life, is there anything you do that's not football related during the season?
No.
No, this is it?
Yeah, I used to barbecue a lot. It's funny. My son's older now, but when we first got here, in my second year as a head coach, my son at the time was, I think, 9 or 10, and he told my wife that I had lost the spirit of barbecue because I literally just don't have time for it anymore. But that's okay. I can do that in the summer or something. But right now, you're in it. Lots of the old timers that I worked for in the past, they used to refer to it as being in the submarine. And in August, you get in the submarine, and you don't get out till December or January, and it's kind of the way it is.
Do you ever feel the need to do something else, or is that just how you're wired? To a little bit of space away from work, even though this is kind of life.
Yeah, I do think this is one of those professions where your livelihood is so tied to your life because of your connection and commitment to the players that you're coaching and the people in your work environment. You spend so much time together, right? The coaching staff. I share an office with Ben Thenis, our director of operations. I see Ben infinitely more than my wife, right? And she's very happy about that. But it's funny, right? It becomes that. And so your level of investment in each other's lives, right? That becomes the glue that holds you together and the trust and what makes the journey special. I went for a run at 5 a.m. today. That felt good. It was raining. It was awesome. So I do stuff like that, but I'm not getting away and barbecuing or, I'm not going and watching Monday Night Football with my buddies. I'm sure that's fun, but I'm not doing it.
Even that's still football.
That's a good point. That is still football, but that would be fun to me. So I guess it is fun too, right? I love the job. I love what we do. I love what we're doing here.
We've seen Nick Nash a lot on Saturday's game. I know we talked about him last week. What do you think about his transition to receiver, and how important is it to have a guy who could kind of do a lot of things on the field?
Nick is one of those guys that it's really awesome how he has just dove into this new role. And I think because he played it a year ago, but he was kind of part-time, right? He was in between quarterback and receiver. It was mixed results, right? Now he's just dove in, all in. He's really excited about it. He's practicing very hard. He's learning. Coach E. Scott's doing a great job teaching him technique and all that stuff. And so I'm just excited about what I think is going to be really, really fast development there because he has played a lot of football, so he does have a feel for the game. It's just different playing out there than it is behind center. And so, I just think you're going to see more and more good stuff from him as the season goes on. And the good news is we got, 4 or 5 games left, right? So there's still a lot of football left to play. I think that gets lost. It's November, it's almost the end of the season. No, it's not. You know what I mean? It's really just, we got a third of the season left. And so there's a lot of good football and a lot of important football left to play.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.